What's up, everybody? Welcome to the next episode of Dev and the Bear. Today, we're going to have kind of a shorter one. We're going to be talking about the Makhachev and the Thiago Moises card. The prelims are going to have some familiar names that are going to be pretty exciting. You're going to have Daniel Rodriguez fighting Preston Parsons, and the Miles Johns fight and Anderson Dos Santos. I think that fight will be pretty interesting. But we're going to skip that and just go straight to the main card, where it opens up with Gabriel Benitez and Billy Quarantillo. And with that one, I think that fight is going to end up going to decision. I think both guys are really fast, and they both know that their boxing is very good, so they're going to try to stay away from each other. So I see Billy Quarantillo kind of taking that one by decision. But I think that one's going to be a decent fight. There are other fights on this card that I think are going to be a bit more exciting, but I think that one is going to be very back and forth.
Yeah. What's it called? I'm always excited for the featherweight showdown. So with you have Billy. I mean, he's known for his ground game, known for submissions. So I'm definitely looking forward to something like that. While, Gabriel. I don't know why I got this confused right now. Gabriel Benitez. He's known for his submissions. And so I always enjoy watching some of these jiu-jitsu guys go out and still be able to implement martial art like that, you know?
Yeah. Well, I think with this one, I think we're going to see a lot more hands than...
I think so, too.
And that, I would say that is one of the reasons why I think it's going to go to decision, is I think Gabriel's going to go in there, and his best chance at winning this fight is taking it to the ground. But I think they're just going to end up against the cage a lot, and Billy's going to be able to get out of it. And I'm thinking he's going to get the decision win, mostly from his strikes.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the next fight is going to be Adolfo Vieira and Dustin Stoltzfus. That fight's... I personally feel like it's a little bit outmatched for Dustin. Adolfo is very good with his jiu-jitsu. I don't really see... I don't see this fight ending or staying on the feet very long at all.
Yeah, I remember, last time Rodolfo fought, I had him picked to beat Alex Hernandez, and I don't know where Fluffy Hernandez pulls off a submission win against him.
That's wild.
Do you remember that?
I do not remember that at all.
Yeah, Fluffy Hernandez,
crazy,
who was a heavy underdog coming in. Rodolfo is a very, very... he's a very recognized jiu-jitsu practitioner in the BJJ community, and out of nowhere, like in the first round, fucking Alex gets a guillotine and makes him tap, and everyone was like, "Dude, this is the one way I did not expect you to lose."
Yeah,
it was nuts, man. And
I didn't catch that, mate. My whole world has changed. I don't know how to pick for this fight now. Yeah, I mean, it's MMA.
It can happen, man. Crazy. It's a sport where you just don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You know? So
how much you win off that? Did you bet you put on verdict?
No, I fucked up. That's how I found out the hard way. And so I went for Rodolfo. I was like, oh man, he's gonna get the submission. I mean, Alex Hernandez is very good, but Rodolfo just seems to be at this next level. And then Fluffy just went in there and just put him out.
That's insane.
And I was like, what the fuck, man? So Rodolfo's very good, but I won't with it comes to guys that go against them. It just I wouldn't say Rodolfo is overly confident, but at all. But I think he just knows that his skill set is, and he just probably didn't realize, and he just got caught. But I mean, Fluffy is a guy that Fluffy Hernandez is fucking good, and I'm surprised by his nickname. It throws me off. But Alex Hernandez, he's just he's been around for quite a bit, so it's definitely the biggest win of his career so far in such a different fashion than he's used to. You know, because he's had submission wins before, but
yeah, he's very heavy-handed.
Yep,
and he has really good wrestling as well. So I know he's no stranger to the ground, but to have submitted Vieira, that's pretty crazy. But yeah, I would still stick with it. I do believe that Dustin Stoltzfus is going to be a bit outmatched in this fight. If it goes any other way, I'd still say Rodolfo by decision.
Yeah.
I just think it's going to be a submission win for him. But again, MMA, it's crazy. You never know.
And so the next fight is you have Jeremy Stevens in his returns taking on Mateus Gamrot. So Jeremy Stevens, I mean, we all know who Jeremy Stevens is. He's a very heavy-handed, likes to brawl, likes to throw down type fighter.
I think this is a great fun matchup.
Yeah.
I think this is fight of the night.
Have you seen Mateus fight before?
Once.
Once, yeah.
But it was really fun.
Yeah, either way, I mean, it's enough to kind of get the idea of what kind of fighter he is, you know?
Yeah.
And so Jeremy Stephens is coming back from that whole issue that he had with Drakkar Close. He got too close.
Yeah.
And so Jeremy Stephens spoke up about that, said he considers that a win and stuff. He's, I consider that a win. I showed up, I was fight ready. He wasn't ready, and all that. And so also because of Jeremy Stephens, that's why you see Dana White get so intense at these face-offs now, because they made a new rule. If you put your hands on the other guy, then they automatically cancel the fight. So
even though they let Conor kick Dustin Poirier.
yeah,
But whatever.
it's all good, man.
It wasn't a hand.
Hey, we saw what really happened though with that. We saw with that kick. With that
Yeah, he karate chopped the lower shin,
Yeah.
and that's what broke his leg.
Yeah.
You know, who knew? He took a page out of Jeremy Stephens' book. It's crazy.
Yeah, he injured him at the weigh-ins. That's what it was.
Think about that meme where the guy's pointing to his head, and he's like, if you hurt him at the weigh-ins, they can't fight you during the fight.
And yeah, so it's gonna be a good fight though for sure. And so for the co-main event, we have Miesha Tate returning after her retirement.
We didn't give a prediction.
Prediction? Oh, I'm going Jeremy Stephens.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, yeah.
But we gotta do it, you know.
Yeah,
Jeremy
yeah,
Stephens
you
by
have a
knockout.
point. Yeah, what's it called? Jeremy Stephens is probably gonna win by knockout. I think he needs it too.
Yeah, that's the main reason. Is
Yeah.
because I think he needs it. If he doesn't get this, he's gonna kind of fall into obscurity.
Which kind of sucks because the way he was coming into his last fight that was supposed to happen with Close, he seemed more mentally sound. He seemed kind of more at peace.
He was ready,
and he just seemed ready. But then after that happens at the weigh-ins, which Drakkar Close did step into his bubble. He initiated the fucking. He did initiate it, but I mean, you don't have to shove somebody so hard you give him.
Yeah,
a
like
concussion,
when do people not get in each other's bubbles at the weigh-ins?
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, it sucks to see, but I think Jeremy Stephens needs this fucking win.
Yeah,
really bad.
and I think, like you were saying, I think mentally he's in a better place. I think physically you don't get much better than Jeremy Stephens. Power, it doesn't get much better. So I think he gets the knockout win
for sure.
But like you were saying, Miesha Tate's making her return to MMA.
Yep.
You can go on, continue.
Oh yeah, so she's making her return since her last fight was against Amanda Nunes. Actually, excuse me, no, it wasn't. Well, I forgot who her last fight was against, but it's been a little while since we had seen her in the octagon.
I know she's coming off of 2 losses.
Raquel Pennington, that's who it was.
Yeah, Raquel Pennington,
Yeah,
and then before that it was Amanda Nunes.
Yeah, she's been gone for 5 years. Her last loss was actually at UFC 205. That was back when Conor won both belts. Well, defeated Eddie Alvarez that night. And to give you an idea of how long ago that was, and I mean, fuck, what's that? That was just a long time ago now.
I remember seeing something that recently, like yesterday or today, that said the last time Conor won a championship fight was against Eddie Alvarez, and it was like Barack Obama was president. Khabib was still fighting on prelims.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff like that. So, like you said, give you an idea of what kind of or what period of time that Miesha Tate was last fought in. But yeah, she's making her return to MMA, and she looks really good. She looks in very good shape for this.
Yeah, she's in great shape. She's coming back. She took time off. She has a family now. She actually has a child now. It's also, I think that's what caused her to retire too. She said she just wanted to have, just be a mom and be there for her kid. Then I think I'm not sure if she has a daughter or son, but once her child got old enough, she decided, I want to go back into it. I feel much better now. She's taking on Marion Reneau. And Reneau's kind of coming off of she's on a 4-fight skid right now. All by decision against tough fighters, but it's going to be the question of, if Miesha Tate can't beat her, then should she stick around,
But that being said, Marion is the GOAT killer if the UFC game is of any standing on what she can do.
Yeah, apparently she has dynamite in her fucking hands if you pick her on UFC 4.
I've knocked out Amanda Nunes with Marion several times with her.
It's ridiculous. And I was Amanda Nunes. What kind of shit is this? Apparently I just fucking suck at the game. But yeah, so with Reneau, it's just she's coming out. I mean, her losses aren't against bad fighters at all either. They're
against Kat Zingano, Yana Kunitskaya, who we just saw fight, and Raquel Pennington, and then Macy Chiasson. I just feel like she's, I guess you could call it like a midlife crisis for your MMA career.
Yeah.
You get to that point where you really have to figure out what you want to do, or if you just want to call it quits halfway through because you're not cut out for it like you thought you were. But I think that she is cut out for it. I think she is very good, but I think that she's had a tough list of opponents, but that's kind of what it's like when you're going to break into the top 10.
Yeah.
So if you want to break into the top 10, that's who you have to fight. You got to be ready for that. And she wasn't ready. And I think at any point in time, Miesha Tate's always going to be a tough test for anybody.
Yeah.
So it's just another tough fight for Marion. So she's going to have to really step it up. Even though Amanda Nunes submitted Miesha Tate, I don't see this fight ending by submission for Marion. I could see it ending by submission for Miesha Tate, though.
Yeah, Miesha Tate throws down. People forget about that. When she gets into dogfights, and with Renaud, I mean, she's 44. Miesha Tate's 34. There's a 10-year difference. I think what it is just Renaud's kind of on her way out. She just hasn't accepted it yet, because the thing is with these women's divisions, especially with the bantamweight division, mainly with that division, it's very dense. There's not a lot of good like high talent fighters in there. I mean, you can name a couple. Look at Aspen Ladd, look at fucking Doreen Durandamy. I mean, there's hard talent to get past, but the thing is just when there's just really nobody else that's really standing out. And so for you to have to want to fight for the title, look at Juliana Pena. She's on a 1-fight win streak since what's it called, and she's fighting for the championship for the belt win in September, or was it August 7th. So it's like, I mean, it's really hard
Houston,
to
right?
Yeah, it's gonna be in Houston August 7th. And it's really hard to make your point whenever you have to fight against, and you're in a division where Amanda Nunes is a champion, With Miesha Tate, I could see her coming back, and if she can win this fight and she can look good, then I could see her coming back and fighting for the title.
I could too. I hope not, but I could see it.
Yeah.
I hope she wins this fight. Then I hope she wins another one, and then gets a title shot. But like you were saying, I think when you have a champion as dominant as Amanda Nunes, it's really hard to pick who she's going to fight next. You can't just have her fight the same few people because they're the only people in the division who are even close to her.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I feel like Miesha Tate's going to get this one. I would say by decision, though.
Yeah,
First fight back in 5 years.
Think?
I think she wins it by decision. I don't think she's going to be able to be as offensive as she might think she could be.
Yeah.
It's always I'm not saying that ring rust isn't real, but I don't think ring rust is always the thing when fighters take time off. I think it's just you kind of and I understand people are going to say that's what ring rust is, but I think you just kind of forget what it's like to be in there.
Yeah.
And then once you get in there, you have to readjust. And that's 5 years of not fighting. I think only a select few people can do that, and GSP is one of them. Look what he did to Michael Bisping after 5 years.
I feel like Dom Cruz used to be one of them until we saw him fight Henry Cejudo, and then it's like, you have some ring rust.
With him, I wouldn't say it's ring rust. All those injuries just deteriorated his body. He can't do what he used to do.
Mm-hmm.
You look at his fight with Casey Kenny. He won the fight, but I don't think he looked good doing it.
There were glimpses where it's like, okay, you look like Dominic Cruz, but there's nothing to say, okay, this Dominic Cruz he still has it, he's still doing it,
So the question is Miesha Tate one of those people who can come in there and do it, or is she going to show that the game has moved kind of further away from her and she's still got work to do?
Because she was one of the few fighters you could say that was like a mixed martial artist,
Yeah, absolutely.
So she wasn't really one-dimensional. I think when it came down to, back in the day, back when the women's divisions were starting to really get into the UFC, we were seeing a spotlight on it. When she was fighting, Ronda Rousey was at the top, to where it's like you could specialize in one type of martial art and you could dominate it. But now we're seeing somebody who's like Amanda Nunes, who has incredible jiu-jitsu. That's her base, but she also has the best boxing as well.
Yeah.
And so now it's like you're seeing something where it's like Miesha Tate was kind of one of those first mixed martial artists in those divisions.
Like you said, she would throw down with people, but I think when she fought Ronda Rousey, everyone was like, yeah, but I don't know if she's going to be able to submit Misha because Misha's so good on the ground. That's one of her things. Obviously, Ronda was able to submit her.
Yeah.
But, I mean, like I said, I think Misha's going to win this fight, but I don't think it's going to be her best showing. I think she's going to have to kind of figure out how to fight again. I'm sure she's been in the gym, but that never really emulates what it's like to actually fight someone.
Yeah, because we've seen it with the other person. I know it's completely different, but like with Chuck Liddell, when he came back to fight Tito, I mean, even whenever Chuck fought Rich Franklin, even though we knew that he'd been knocked out a lot, we were just kind of like, okay, I mean, he just doesn't have much of a chin. But whenever he was in there fighting Tito, it was like, you look completely out of it. You look like my drunk uncle at a birthday party fighting. Like, you just don't look the same, you know? And so it's just going to be like, what can 5 years off of her doing that look like, you know? Of doing just like, you know, she's just been raising a family. That's what she's been doing. She's been a family person for the past 5 years. And so it's going to be more of like, let's see how that plays out. So I think that's going to be the biggest question because I think Miesha Tate wins this fight.
How do you think she wins it?
Like you said, I think she goes by decision as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So that brings us to the main event, which is going to be Islam Makhachev and Thiago Moises. That fight is either going to be really, I don't want to say boring, but Makhachev is one of the best grinders there is right now.
Yeah.
But, you know, Thiago Moises is no stranger to fighting things out to a decision either. It's just a tough one. Islam is kind of showing that he's one of the top dogs right now. Thiago Moises is coming in here as the guy that's moving up and kind of being a prospect. So if he wins this, I think that's a big deal. If Islam wins this, I think it's like, okay, well, we knew you were that good. But as far as predictions go, I think Islam wins it.
I think so too. And it's nothing against Thiago Moises. I think he has a great set of skills, but Islam is kind of the next big Dagestani star that they need right now. And look at his fight with Drew Dober. Who thought he would have done that to Drew Dober?
Yeah.
You know, he ragdolled Drew Dober. It's, and like Zach said, if you're not really a fan of that style, it's not very exciting. It's not very fun to watch. But I enjoy watching him fight because he does go for the finish. I mean, he just will exhaust somebody. It's kind of like watching a younger Khabib fight. In that sense, Khabib kind of did the same exact thing. I mean, even
like his fight against Michael Johnson.
Yeah, like it's called. But that fight, I felt like that fight was exciting because of the fact that it's just he was putting in work against Michael Johnson. You know, he wasn't just laying there, and he was constantly just trying to roll for a better spot or roll for a better position or something. You know, so but yeah, I think Islam Makhachev, he takes it. I'm gonna say he takes it by submission though.
Yeah.
I think he does it.
Thiago Moises is pretty good on the ground.
He's very good on the ground.
Yeah.
And so it's gonna be a lot of that. But it's gonna be a lot of ground game. I know it is. But the same thing with Islam though is just he's. I know for a fact what he's gonna go in there and do. He's just gonna go in there and just try to throw him around. But is Thiago Moises going to be able to have the condition to keep up with that and be comfortable fighting off his back?
I was going to say, I kind of think that's the question too. Is his gas tank going to be able to compare to the pressure and the pace that Islam is going to put up? Because that always seems to be the problem. It's just like you said, just like with Khabib, it's all about the pace they put on, the pressure they put on, and how well can you hold up against it. So yeah, that'll be our predictions for this fight this Saturday.
Always kind of hard to talk about fights like after such an exciting card that we have.
Yeah, and a lot of that has been everyone's still buzzing about what happened with the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier fight. We actually plan to have a breakdown of our own, so keep an eye out for that. And I think a lot of people have come out with their own breakdowns of this fight, and I just don't feel like a lot of them have been super accurate. I feel like a lot of it is all speculation, and there's no real way of knowing exactly what happened. There's no, we can't see the fighter's bones. This isn't Mortal Kombat.
Are you talking exactly about the leg break?
Just kind of the fight in general, like what was happening throughout the fight, because everything that, like Conor said, there was no checking. There's a couple that were definitely checked. I think there's a couple that weren't checked, but Dustin was putting pressure and putting his weight on that leg as Conor kicked it, so it was like kicking a pole, and I don't think Conor was ready for that. But all the stuff that happened after the fight, all the words that were spoken after the fight, is what's really got everybody talking still. Dustin wasn't happy with Conor saying the "I'm gonna kill you in your sleep" thing.
Yeah,
He said, "In your sleep, you're getting it."
yeah, that's what. So he kept saying, this guy said he's gonna kill me and stuff, and I understood everybody's point. I was like, man, like people say shit like that, like don't let that shit get to you. But then what wasn't released is that it was like whenever Conor was sitting ring, it's like cage side with his leg broken, and he's putting a gun to his head, and he starts telling Dustin, he's like, you and your wife, he's like, in y'all sleep, like y'all are gonna get it, y'all are gonna get it in y'all sleep. And it's like, okay, now I see why he was so upset.
Yeah. And then Conor ended up tweeting out and then talking about in a little video where he says that he doesn't want to, like, basically he says he doesn't want to disgrace the foundations that he works with by talking about Jolie Poirier and her going into his DMs, which is just more trash talk. He ended up taking that down. The other one he ended up taking down was a little bit more, again, on the edge of that's not okay.
This is way past the edge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm trying to play it safe a little bit. No, this is actually not okay at all. Paul Felder and Michael Chiesa talk a little bit about it, and both of them are kind of disgusted with him. But this is something I wish more people were talking about, but it got taken. Conor took it down. But he tweeted out a picture of Dustin's daughter, and it was like zoomed in on her. And he said, Gonzo, like, she's gone. He's going to kill her. She's like 5 years old, man.
Yeah.
Leave the child out of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like whenever you told me that, I remember we were catching up and you were just hanging out playing Overwatch, and I just like started talking with you and stuff. And I didn't know about that until you told me about that. And it's just, I understand you're frustrated. But now you're talking about killing somebody who can't even. It's a 5-year-old kid.
It's a child.
Yeah.
You're talking about hurting a child. You lost a fight, so you can't handle the feelings you feel when you lose a fight. That you start threatening a child's life.
Yeah, you're threatening a child over your leg breaking because you don't want to condition your shins for an MMA fight. Like, that sounds like a. I mean, not once have I seen Dustin Poirier really boast about this win, because I know he knows that. I know he's thinking that this isn't really a win. He broke his fucking leg, even though I was whooping his ass. He broke his leg.
Yeah.
And he hasn't really boasted about it. I know he did in front of his face. He did the Billy walk in front of him, and which I think after hearing that shit, like, Conor probably deserved it. Like, it was like you said some fucked up shit, especially with him still going on. It's just it's pretty fucking disgusting to hear somebody say they would kill a kid over this shit. It's a child, man. Like, leave that out of it. You want to go low, now you're going even lower, and I think it's pretty sad of the UFC to not even like put out a statement about this. They know this is going on, you know, and nobody's really saying anything about it. They're ignoring the whole situation. And Paul Felder even said it best, is like, get the hell out of here if you want to keep talking about this.
Yeah, get out of the octagon. I don't want to see you anymore.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's getting me to the point to where it's like, and there's people who just really just tune in just to watch McGregor fights, and they don't want to. They don't know about that. They don't know this is happening. They don't know this is being talked about. But it's like, okay, man, like, I understand if you're a fan of him, he's a fun fighter, but look what he's saying. Like, this shit's going too far now. And do I think he's gonna do that? I don't think he's gonna fucking do that. You're sending death threats on Twitter to a woman and her child.
Yeah. It's been pretty wild. Y'all let us know y'all's thoughts on all the stuff that happened with Conor McGregor. It's, like I said, it's been pretty wild. As far as MMA news, we're gonna get into matchups for a little bit, and news. So one thing that happened to Sean O'Malley, he called out some people, and someone that was happy that they didn't get a call out was Frankie Edgar and his team. They were saying pretty much that, yeah, Sean O'Malley called everybody out but Frankie Edgar.
Yeah.
Frankie's down to fight anybody, anytime. So you want to call someone out. You want to be in the top 10, you want to be in the top 5 at some point, you have to go through Frankie. And, I mean, I'm inclined to agree.
I think it'd be a fun fight.
Yeah, and if you want to be a big name in that division, you got to fight Frank Edgar. He's kind of gatekeeper, kind of legend status for Frankie Edgar, I think. Arguably the greatest, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, and he's down in featherweight. I feel like you fight Frank Edgar and you win. That does a lot for you, for your status, for your rank, for your stock, for everything that you are trying to build on. A fight against Frankie Edgar has a huge amount of potential to improve on it with. So I wouldn't mind that matchup. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all.
Yeah, I think that fight makes sense. You know, with where Frankie is at in his career, it's like we know he's not going to be fighting for the title again. I don't really see that happening. But I mean, we might as well just fight some of these top guys and just, you know, make a good check. You just keep doing what you love. I don't think Sean O'Malley's the type of guy to go out there and get a Sandhagen flying knee knockout on him.
No, I don't either.
But it's a fight that makes sense, though. I mean, he wants to prove a point and fight a top guy. I mean, I think this is perfect for it. You know, let him go out there and fight Frankie Edgar. I didn't know Frankie Edgar said that.
It was mostly his team, but he is part of his own team, you know?
Yeah.
So he's in on it as well.
I know Merab Dvalishvili and Aljamain Sterling made like a TikTok saying, we can't find Sean O'Malley. You know, like wasn't very funny.
No, it wasn't. It was really stupid.
It was really, really dumb. But, you know, they're saying that, like, Merab's saying he wants that fight against Sean O'Malley. And so I know that Chris Matino was talking a little bit. He's getting some notoriety for his fight. Yeah. And it's hard because, like, you know, man, like, nowadays in the sport, like, being a tough guy only gets you so much respect now.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say because anytime people are like, man, he's showing a lot of heart, everyone's gonna be like, well, he's getting brain damage. It's like, well, we know, man. Like, this whole sport revolves around brain damage. You know?
I feel like everything that's been said at this point is all there is to say. Yeah. He needs to work on it. But if he comes back after working on it, he'll probably look pretty good. Yeah. And that's really all there is to say about him. Again, nothing but respect to him. He's earned it. But you got to look better than you did.
Yeah. And I think it's only up from here for him. You know?
Yeah, I would hope so. But again, in matchups, we have on September 25th, a lot of fights were announced as official. Alexander Volkanovski and Brian Ortega, coaches of the Ultimate Fighter, are going to take place that night. Valentina Shevchenko is going to fight Lauren Murphy for the championship. And I feel like that's a good fight. It's going to be a very interesting one. And you also have the Nick Diaz and Robbie Lawler that we talked about last time. That's all going down September 25th. And that's should be a wild night. That's a lot of star power to put on one card.
Yeah, man, it's exciting. I like the Lauren Murphy fight, and so I'm really excited to see her go against Shevchenko. Shevchenko, she looks as flawless as every time she steps in there. Yeah. And so we're seeing Lauren Murphy, somebody who just busted their butt just to get to the top, and we're seeing somebody who's just homegrown. You know, like, I mean, she's trains out of Houston as well, Houston Muay Thai. So over on Mainstream Muay Thai, she's still training over there with Derek Lewis, I believe, right? So I think that's really cool to see her fighting for the championship. The Alexander Volkanovski, Brian Ortega fight, I'm excited for that just because I like Volk fighting. Ortega showed much improvement in his stand-up since they last fought, but I've only watched like 2 episodes of The Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I haven't been an avid watcher of it either, just because I don't think they've really changed their formula for how they film that show.
Not at all, no.
And it's not that exciting to me.
But this is like, so watching Nick Diaz come back though, and this is something I think we might have probably discussed. I don't think we talked about it on here, but probably talking because it's like we're not kidding when we say, oh, we talk about his MMA, but it's like, I think when we said, you know, with Nick Diaz, he should fight another legend in the sport. Yeah, he shouldn't be fighting these top guys. It should be just strictly just him, just fighting fights that make sense for his career, you know. And him and Robbie Lawler, since they last fought, I mean, we've seen Nick Diaz. He left the UFC, you know, taking over everywhere he went. He was a champion, and we saw Robbie Lawler. He left, and then he came back. He's been a UFC champion since he came back. He won the belt, and we in between that inactivity with Nick Diaz, he hadn't fought since 2013. It's almost been 10 years since he's last fought. I think it's been a lot longer than that since he's won a fight. And when his last win was against BJ Penn. His last win
was 2011.
Yeah, it's been 10 years since we've seen him win in the octagon. So with him taking on Robbie Lawler hasn't fought in a while either. Excuse me, he hasn't won in a while as well. So I feel like this fight makes sense. They fought back in, was it
2004?
2004, yeah.
Yeah. So that fight was very fun. Robbie was moving up. Nick Diaz was a wild sensation. And they kind of clashed, and it made for a really fun fight.
Yeah.
I don't see this one not being just as fun as the first one.
Yeah.
I know they're both much older, but they still throw down.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to see.
The only thing I could see happening is Nick Diaz pulling his moves and making jokes and taunting instead of throwing back.
Yeah.
And I could see Robbie Lawler being like, you know what, I'm trying to take my career seriously now. I'm not that wild kid I used to be.
Yeah.
So I need to really try to string combinations together, not just try to knock him out.
Because that loss, because Nick Diaz knocked him out in that fight.
Yeah.
If you didn't know, back in 2004, he knocked him out. But that's when you saw Nick Diaz actually being Nick Diaz, the Nick Diaz you know now. Before that, he's very quiet. He's known for his jiu-jitsu. Walks out there and just starts slapping up Robbie Lawler, getting in his head, talking shit to him. And Robbie starts getting mad. He's like, all right, come on. And then they clash, and then fucking Robbie gets knocked out. It was a really bad knockout. Like, he just knocked him out.
It's definitely a highlight reel for the rest of Nick Diaz's life. Yeah, I remember watching
the Ultimate Knockouts. It was on there, and he's doing the vintage Stockton slap in the fight and stuff like that. And I was like, God, man. It's like, man, that's fucking... Joe Rogan talks about this fight. He loves to talk about this fight.
It's a fun one. Like I said, I think both guys, no matter how old they get, no matter how out of the game they are, I think they'll always put on exciting fights. Robbie Lawler especially. You look at later in his career, he had the fights with Rory McDonald. Those were two of the most exciting fights of all time.
Yeah.
And you look at his fight with Johnny Hendricks. I think that fight was pretty exciting as well.
Yeah.
He's gonna come in and he's gonna be smarter, I think. He knows he can't keep taking damage like he did in those fights. So against a guy like Nick Diaz who peppers his shots instead of really trying to put you away, I think he's not going to have to worry about it as much. And at this point, he knows that. So I think he's going to put in some great combinations and land some heavy shots. But how Nick Diaz's counter, or how he counters it, that's kind of going to be the deciding factor in that fight, I think. But yeah, as far as any other news in the MMA world, I'm not sure. What else we got?
Oh, Mirsad Bektic retired at the age of 30.
It's not really MMA.
He's an MMA fighter. Fights in the UFC. Yeah. It's kind of news.
Retired. No one cares.
Just retired yesterday.
Get out of here.
That's news, man.
Get out of here.
You know, whatever
you're retired,
he chooses.
You're done. You're not in MMA anymore.
Whatever he chooses to do with his life, I hope he has. He retired young. He retired at the age of 30, and I don't know why yet. I don't think he's come out with a reason for it yet.
Yeah, I wonder if since you told me about that, I've been wondering if it was like from an injury and he just knew.
Yeah.
You know what? It's not going how I wanted it to. I'm getting sick or I'm injured. I'm done.
Yeah.
Maybe he just got the money and he's like, you know what? Why keep fighting?
Yeah.
I'm having fun. I'm living life.
I mean, so whatever he chooses to do, hopefully he finds success in it. He's going out, you know, pretty young, but whatever. It's crazy because he was a top prospect at one point.
Yeah.
So it was crazy to me to see him decide to call it a career, but hey.
Yeah. Let us know your guys' thoughts on these upcoming matchups. Let us know what y'all think about the Conor McGregor threats. And we'll talk to you guys next time.